So I'm going to begin by giving a quick background of what R9K is, for anyone who isn't already acquainted with it. It is a place for all the various dregs of society to congregate. This board, in particular, is notorious for misogyny, women-hating, mental illness, and being full of neets, people who are removed from society in every way. To the point where back in the good old days, you would see people posting the various piss bottles they kept around, so they wouldn't have to walk to the toilet. We're talking that level of dysgenic human beings, these broken, mean little men. And I'm not here to talk about that or criticize them. I want to discuss the more recent developments of the board, which is basically characterized by trap posting. So anyone following the board from pre-2015, 2016, knows that there was a huge change from the woman-hating, depressive attitude it used to have into its current one, obsessed with gays and trannies and penises. There used to be a few gentle femdom threads, which would evolve into a bunch of futa stuff, trap posting, and now is at its height in R9 gay. This all kept going until the point where almost every single day you would have endless threads about traps, advice for taking hormone replacement therapy, and workouts to get the trap aesthetic, and so on. And that's all still here now. You can go on R9K any day and you'll see all of this. So with that out of the way, we can get on to the big issues going on at the moment with this board. To boil it down as simply as possible, there is a cabal of deranged homosexuals who post trap threads, gay threads, and encouragement for people to take hormones on the board as a constant effort. You can see evidence of this, hopefully on screen, and these people don't deny they're doing it. In fact, they admit it proudly. They use their discords to congregate and spam these threads. Now, you could call this, as they're calling it, a psyop. All of this is obviously mentally deranged, ill, and extremely abusive. Keep in mind what R9K is. It's well known for being a hive of the most mentally ill, pathetic, worthless losers on the planet who are sexually frustrated beyond imagination. So these people openly admit going out of their way to post as many threads as possible to convince these broken young men to begin taking hormones. These are young men who would do anything for any kind of sexual affection or intimacy, even going as far as hiring prostitutes or various other things, as we often see, and we all know are fetishistically deranged. They're all viewing porn regularly. So now that they have an outlet to receive some kind of sexual gratification if they begin posting themselves as traps. And so they do this, and the Discord of these people spam erotic role-playing threads, and they will spam idealized images of traps, these anime images. So what could be worse? How could this develop any further? The seeming leader of one of these discords, spamming R9K, known as Reiko, discord name Reiko #3333, along with someone called Haruka, have a discord harem of traps they've collected from R9K. They spend their time going around multiple 4chan boards, including X and Soch, but mainly R9K, spamming invites to Reiko's harem. This is his personal discord for the various depressed, mentally ill, neat, lifeless fucks he's managed to convince to start putting dildos up their arse and considering taking hormone replacement therapy. As mentioned before, he openly admits and is proud of the fact that he has collected this mentally ill cesspit he calls a harem. Now, from this point on, the things I'm going to talk about are largely unverified, and Reiko himself and his Discord cabals claim this is disinfo, the various things I'll be bringing up. But whether or not this is all lies, whether it is bollocks, doesn't change how sick these people are to begin with. But if these claims are true, it does significantly change things, I believe. So let's have a read of this first picture I'm going to put up for you, knowing all that we already do and how these people behave. Join Trap Discord. They asked me for a picture of me dressed up in order to join. Showing face. Shit is like a cult. Everyone worships some nigger called Reiko. Turns out they've doxed me and have all my info. And just to clarify, he explains how they doxed him in the threads if you go back. They're blackmailing me with this pic, saying that if I don't take HRT, they will mail it to my family and friends. They've done this shit to numerous other people. What the fuck do I do? Now, there's also been another young man claiming the same. If we look at this, we'll see he is a young man who has drawn a bunch of words on his body, including the name Reiko in large letters, and a bit claiming that PSN owns this, pointing down to his genitalia. Now, of course, this could be a false flagger, a disinfo shill, trying to post semi-nude images of himself with this stuff written on him onto R9K to scare us all, to make us think there's some kind of boogeyman. But, I mean, likely enough, he has probably been blackmailed or convinced into doing this. And either way, even if he hasn't been blackmailed and he's just doing this of his own volition, it really shows the mindset and culture of this board in general, that it creates such degenerate people that they're willing to do this kind of thing. Now, I will say that the info for these blackmails is sparse, it's very lacking. There was also another one claiming they have been blackmailed by this Discord into getting a tramp stamp, which is some kind of tattoo. But regardless, the compilation of everything here in this video that I'll present has been far beyond the point of disgust. These people are taking advantage of the most vulnerable, lifeless, depressed group of men you could probably find on this earth, and trying to, through manipulation, or as they call it, psyops, use them as sex toys, and convince them to fetishize every aspect of their life. And these people almost certainly will kill themselves. I have no doubt that every single person involved in this harem will be considering suicide rather soon, or do it. And to keep in mind, all of this is in the wake of a rather depressing, incredibly disturbing suicide for anyone who's been on the board for a long time. There was a young man out there who shot himself live on stream with a shotgun in the head recently. I do not suggest watching the footage. It's out there if you really want to, but it's incredibly disturbing, and I think it probably will stick with you. To recap all of this, there is a cabal of people out there who are spending their time trying to convince depressed virgin men to become traps. And this is so they can sexually roleplay with them, potentially blackmail them, get nudes off of them. And the way they do this is by spamming threads over and over and over onto this board as part of a concerted effort to make HRT look great, to make these young men who are depressed and sexually starved think that by taking hormones, their lives will be improved. By dressing up in girls' clothes, they will feel fulfilled. And it's all rubbish. I mean, they fake being people on these threads who are enjoying it. So you'll see something like a thread saying, oh, just take the pink pill and become a trap. Your life will improve. And then, you'll have someone suggest that they take HRT. Someone else will say, oh, yes, I started hormone replacement therapy. It's been great for me. I love it. I have my sexy, cute boyfriend. And one thing to notice that these people do is that, and this is in R9K especially, not once do they ever post pictures of real adult men. Not once. These are all images of anime traps. These are sexy, cute, desu lolly things, these disgusting aberrations. And they do this so that they can try and convince these young, mentally ill young men to begin transforming themselves so that they can turn into a little anime character. And that might sound beyond insane, but I think it very clearly works. You really need to try and get into the head of these young men. I don't think anyone can really do it unless you've been in that place yourself, but it is far beyond the normal boundaries of human life. These people have been broken on every level. So to finish, R9K is a cesspit of sin. It is what happens when everything in a society falls apart. It is the reduction of human life in its entirety to the most base, fetishistic, warped, pornographized desires. It is abuse occurring here at the highest level, and I urge anyone watching to never browse the board, dissuade anyone from watching it, and collect all the info you possibly can on these people, and really just take away from this that there are some disgusting, deranged, homosexual perverts out there, the likes of which you probably can't imagine, doing the most insane things to try and further themselves in the most autistic internet spheres you can imagine. Regardless of whether the blackmail stuff is true or not, all of this stuff is beyond the pale. It is horrific. And keep in mind that this is always around the corner. Transsexual stuff doesn't come lightly. When you start taking hormones for 5 years, well, there's no turning back. You've got to kill yourself or keep going. So, if you didn't watch my previous video on this, please go back and watch that. I'm not going to be recapping anything. I'll just begin by getting some stuff out of the way now, then we can go into all the new leaks, all the new info, and the autistic timeline of this. The first thing I want to say, and I have pretty solid evidence of this. The Illinois, Kentucky, and NC doxes are all rubbish. I've seen at least 10 doxes of Reiko at this point, and I'm certain they're all rubbish. 2 unrelated people have already been fucked over by this. I don't know how many more might have been. So please stop autistically trying to dox him. You're all getting it wrong, so please stop. I have ridiculous amounts of evidence as well of Reiko's lot spreading fake doxes, so you're probably just doing what they want you to do anyway, and you're being taken for a ride. Now, for the stuff you're all actually here for, I'm gonna go through, break down all the recent stuff about the trap posting on R9K, and give you all the best info I've managed to collect. And almost all of this has been public info. I'm not super deep in the internet, as one Twitter user thinks. So where to begin? Well, over the past 3 days, there's been an anti-trap war, I'm sure you're all aware of, which is really just an autism fest, where in every trap thread on R9K, people started posting all the Reiko leaks, posting my video, and just telling the people posting the trap threads to go fuck off and die. Now, I mentioned in the last video that people were being encouraged to post these trap threads as part of some autistic psyop. Now, this is true, but what's really funny about this is that they are paying people to do this. Now, I know I've got a screen cap up on screen, but I did ask Reiko personally if they are paying people, and they are, which is really funny. This guy made something like 70 grand on crypto, apparently, and is now paying people to post these small threads. And so what I want to start with is just how LARPy things have gotten over the past few days. There's a few posts written like hentai villains. We'll start with this one from Reiko. Now, to clarify, he claims that this post is a copy pasta, but I haven't seen it. I mean, I'm not in this fetish. I have no idea. It might be. My ultimate fantasy is kidnapping a cute boy and locking him up in my basement. I will let him consume nothing but soylent, estrogen, and milk mixed with my semen. I will deny him any kind of pleasure for a week straight, and when he is completely lust-filled, I will descend into his room with nothing but a mask on. Now, this might be a copy pasta, who knows. There's some other really funny stuff. You can find this all out there. I'll put some links in the description, but here's one of the really brilliant ones. There is no victory over the chaos we presently represent, but there is victory over the souls and minds of the visitors and the casual users of this board. I will not stop until every man who dares enter this holy place of ours is faced with a wall of knives onto which he shall willingly fall upon, or a wall of needles which will close in and mutate him into these abominations we love to laugh at. Now, if this guy seems a tad autistic, I think he is. I asked around Reiko, some other people, and he does actually think he is a wizard. He is both apparently over 30 and a virgin, but this guy believes he has magic powers. I had one guy tell me that apparently Malfium placed a curse on him, stopping him from getting a boner unless he wears panties. Fairly sure that's a joke, but this guy does believe he is a wizard. So he's not just, pretending when he writes these things. He's quite serious, but there's tons of stuff to laugh at. It's all out there. There's a few important things I do want to cover, though. So if you remember my last video, I mentioned that R9K has changed pretty significantly, particularly over the years of 2015 and 2016. Now, I haven't read the whole logs myself, but there have been IRC logs of the R9K admin called Rape8, and he pretty much admits to hating the typical virgin, depressed audience the board was populated by. I think this does explain a lot of the changes. I know that R9K technically has no topic, but everyone knows the topic is meant to be bitching about women and being depressed, so this does explain why the mods are just not doing their job, because they clearly hate what the board is. Now, one of the crazy things is I was going to record this video last night, and basically just go ahead and say that everyone needs to calm down. There is no evidence for the blackmail and other connections. I do have proof, of course, that there was the Harem, which has been admitted to, with a tranny as young as 17 in it, apparently, and that there were people paid to post trap threads. But, of course, this does not, in fact, prove blackmail in any way, and it doesn't prove doxing either, other than a kid called Yozam, which they've admitted to doxing. But in absolute fairness, Yozam tried to get Reiko swatted, and also when they tried to dox him, they paid a guy two quid to do it, so I'm not sure how serious they were. Though it is worth mentioning, Yozam, the one they doxed, is not the Undertale speedrunner called Yozam. This is a Yozam who claims he was blackmailed into HRT by these guys, but he's provided no evidence. He is a bit of a freak. and he's underaged. I've also been told he has a tendency to post illegal stuff. I don't know what he's posting, I don't want to know, but the point is, I don't really know how much I trust his word. He's given me a bunch of different stories, really, but he is confirmed doxed by these people, but granted, he tried to swat them, in all fairness. Anyway, all this stuff started boiling over, and a few nights ago, Reiko came along to an autistic internet war room. He publicly made an apology, promised to end all trap posting, and denied all blackmailing, and denied doxing anyone other than Yozam. I think the link of the war room will be in this description, but considering there is no evidence for almost any of this stuff, why not believe him? You know, it probably is right to believe him. This whole thing has turned into a bit of a witch hunt. Oh, it turns out there was someone in his super secret mega server of close friends, and they sent me an image of him admitting to be lying to everyone publicly, while telling us that he's not done any of this stuff and he's sorry. Well, you know, this still doesn't mean he did blackmail anyone, and considering he kicked our mole out of his server, it's not like we have any more evidence. Unless we had 2 more inside. And it turns out when we publicly let this be known, Reiko was freaking out when we found out he was lying shit, and that he started losing his mind, including talking about how completely fucked he is when he thought someone posted evidence of him blackmailing people. Now, if you go through this thread that he thinks has evidence of him blackmailing people in, there is no proof, there's no evidence. But considering the guy is a bit of a lying fuck, from what I can tell, and freaked out so much at the claim there was evidence, you can take this as you want. I'm not drawing any conclusions, there's no hard evidence of this stuff, and he might be reacting this way, you know, thinking people have put more false stuff out, but, you know, I don't know, I'm not drawing anything. You can take his reaction as you wish. Anyway, I'll put a bunch of caps up here now I've saved. This is going to be the end of the video. You can stay sub to me if you want. I'm probably deleting the videos though, and I might delete the account. I have no interest in trying to develop this channel, and with the things way of blown out of control, I have no interest or involvement in doing any more. I also have no interest in doxing or contacting anyone. I've done none of that myself. I've just collected publicly available stuff and things I've been sent. I also want to make a few things clear, though, before I wrap up. There is still no evidence that Shrabi, however you say his name, the guy who killed himself lately, is related to Reiko in any way. I did not claim that in my previous video. I think this is some autistic Aussie poster on Pol who misinterpreted what I was saying that started this. The only evidence that they're connected is from the trip on R9K Reiko, but that's pretty much confirmed to not be him. We've got other people claiming that they're posting under him, and these caps seem pretty legit. The next thing I want to mention, the docs claiming that Reiko is someone called Starfall is not him. This Starfall person has been contacted by the police. The police, dealt with it all. He's, as far as I know, or she, whatever, is now being escorted to work by the police and so on. They're in a pretty awful situation. I know at least one person's been swatted. These doxes are fake. I know they are fake, 100%. I have spoke to Reiko. I know what his voice sounds like, so on his YouTube channels out there. These people are not Reiko. Please stop spreading these fake doxes. And even more so, this is partly on Reiko's lot. I know and have evidence that they have been intentionally spreading false doxes, so you're kind of just falling into their hands doing all this. I'm probably not going to make another video. I'll make this clear. I have no involvement in the doxing or swatting. I'm pretty opposed to it. The video has all been from public information. One thing I'll say again, Starfall, the person who's in contact with the police now, wanted me to say that they think harassment of trans people is not okay. Apparently they've been harassed as a trans person quite a bit. Now, I personally do think that trans stuff is wrong, but for their own sake, and because I do feel partly responsible, I promise to include that. Anyway, I think that we should, if you care about R9K that is, be trying to make the board get made blue. The board has been just shit for ages. It doesn't have a reason to exist. It's basically just B at this point. Also, Discord and the police have been contacted quite a few times. I think they're both aware of what's going on. So I'd really be happy if people stop trying to take things into their own hands, especially considering you've all fucked up in doxing him. So I think that's pretty fair. I also promised in this outro that I would put a pixel art snake up on screen. So here you go to the guy I promised that to. It is also worth noting that other people are as deep into the stuff as Reiko himself. I know everything's been dumped on him, and I do think some of his more piss-takey statements have been misunderstood, but Haruka and whoever this Malfian are largely involved. There's a few others as well. I'm sure you can all find that. Malfian is the Virgin. He claims that this was all set up as a grand plan, and, he's a 30-year-old virgin who puts boner curses on people, so, maybe he is. He sounds loppy enough to do it. Oh, if you listen to the video of Reiko's apology, by the way, you will hear me just talking shit. I'm yelling about white pride worldwide and Jewish influence in the media. I mean, I knew the guy was lying. I had no reason to, listen to him, so, yeah, I fucked around. Also, if someone can explain to me what iFunny is, that'd be really nice. Apparently, iFunny has gotten on all this drama and things, so if you could just share a clip of me there telling people these doxes are fake or something, that I'd really appreciate that. Anyway, to wrap up, this stuff has been some good fun, obviously. I'm sorry if anyone's been indirectly fucked over because of everything that's come out of after my video. I am genuinely sorry about that, but I've had nothing to do with any of the doxing, so I might put new stuff up on this channel from time to time. We'll have to wait and see. A few things to address before I go. I am not Millennial Woes. I did not mistype 1488. Also, I don't hate the R9K user base. I know I was very harsh on them, but it's for good reason. They are subhuman. They are pretty much bottom of the barrel, depressed scumbags, but I do feel awful for them. I have a lot of compassion for them, even if I think they're pretty worthless human beings. I've also heard some stuff about Reiko being American Conquestion, but I've still seen no hard evidence. This could be fake. I want to say, please try and let Discord and the police handle this. And that's the video. Thank you very much for sticking around. I'll leave you all with this.
Down. I've been a fool to myself. I thought that I could live for no one else. But now, through all the hurt and pain, it's time for me to respect the ones you love me more than anything. So with sadness in my heart, feel the best thing I could do. So bad, what once was happy now is sad. I'll never love again, my world is ending. I wish that I could turn back time, 'cause now the guilt is all mine. Can't live without the trust from those you love. I know we can't forget the past. You can't forget love and pride.